Hello and welcome to this explanation video on how to annotate poetry for meaning in 7 simple steps. These 7 steps are represented by the acronym TPCASTT. By the end of this video, not only will you know what the acronym stands for, you will be able to annotate your poetry for meaning in no time. So TPCASTT, the first step. The first T is title. Before you read the poem, look at the title. What may the poem be about? Write down a short phrase with your guess. Often, authors conceal meaning and give clues in the title. So here is my poem, and the title is Choices. My first guess is I'm going to assume there's going to be some kind of tension or situation. Not a lot to go by, but again, I'm just looking at the title. That's step 1. Step 2, P stands for paraphrase. This is the step where you work out the literal meaning of the poem. Poetry usually uses a concrete literal image or situation to express an abstract figurative idea. So rewrite each sentence in your own words. So as you can see, I took the sentences and I just wrote them down what is happening, describing literally what the speaker is doing. C, step 3 is connotation. This is the step to work out the figurative meaning of the poem. Since for P, for paraphrase, we worked out the literal meaning. Now we work out the figurative. Now, connotation means the emotional meaning of a word, but here it's the step where you look for figurative language. Figurative language can include, but is not limited by, similes, metaphors, personification, symbolism, diction, point of view, sound devices, like alliteration and rhyme. Of course, there are way more examples of figurative language. Check out the glossary in the back of your poetry packet for more ideas. So for this poem, I went ahead and I annotated all the different figurative devices that I saw. Now what you'll notice is I didn't just identify the device. You can say I identified diction, imagery, anaphora, symbolism, illusion. I didn't just label it. I took that second step and I tried to work out, okay, what is it doing? What does this figurative language, what is it doing? And sometimes in this step, you might have to do a little bit of research. For example, for the word clutched, I noted that word. I was like, that's an interesting word. And I had an idea, but I had to check. I looked it up in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, and I found that there were a couple of meanings. That's why I decided to really talk about that word. Same thing at the bottom. You'll notice that there is a dedication. And I'm like, I have no idea who this person is. Who is Drago Sambuk? I have no idea. So again, I looked him up and wrote down who he is. And I noted that this is an illusion. So in this step, you want to identify, you want to talk about the significance, what is that doing, and you may need to do a little bit of research, a little bit of Googling. Step 4, A for attitude. Now is the time to work out the emotions and tone of the poem. Look at the diction and figurative language. What are the emotions of the speaker? Try to move away from happy or sad. Use a tone words list or emotion wheel to help you get more specific. So you can see in blue, I identified the emotions and some key parts to the poem. And again, I tried to avoid saying happy or sad. And I also had a couple of words for each one. Sometimes I wasn't sure which one was the most accurate. Other times I thought there was maybe a mix of emotions, especially at the ending. I kind of thought, you know what, I think there's a little bit of humility, a little bit of awe, but also maybe a little bit of feeling of remorse. So that is how you identify the emotions. And step 5, S stands for shifts. Now that you see the language and the tone, look for the shifts. Where are there moments of change in the poem? You want to look for keywords, look for punctuation, look for changes in line or stanza length, look for stanza divisions, irony, changes in sound, or changes in diction. So in this case, in red, I noticed the word but as a conjunction that is a key word indicating the shift. I noticed also a similar thing with the word suddenly towards the end. That's another key word indicating the shift. I also noticed in those lines, I don't cut that one, I don't cut the others either. Those are really short lines, much shorter, and the sentences are much shorter than all the other ones. So there's a change in rhythm. There's a change in rhythm. So I wanted to indicate those two as well. Step 6. The second T stands for title revisited. Now's the time to go back to the title and interpret it. What new insights does the title provide in understanding the poem? So you can see in orange, I went back to the title and I thought, you know what? Knowing what I know, it seems to be a choice between going ahead with the plan or changing it. And then I was thinking about the nest, thinking about the symbolism that I noted. I thought maybe this is a choice between life or death, between creation and destruction. I was kind of thinking these might be the choices that they're talking about. That's because of the work that I did on the connotations, the attitudes, and the shifts. Finally, step 7, last step, time to identify the theme. That last T stands for theme. What is the poem saying about the subjects it is addressing? What is the message that the poem is expressing? This is important. A theme is expressed in a sentence using analytical words. So if your theme is just one word, nope, that's not it. It's got to be a sentence. What's the message that's being said about that subject? And this can be a little bit tricky, this part, but because of all the work that you've done, all the work that I did here with the connotation, the attitude, the shifts, and even looking back at the title again, I think I have an idea for the theme. Up in the top in the purple, you can see I'm working it out. How Gallagher reveals how we have the choice to preserve life or destroy it, even in everyday moments. We must be aware and look out for how our actions can impact those who are more vulnerable than us. We should protect life. Now, I can probably revise that a little bit, but that's where I'm seeing the theme. That's where I think the theme, the message that Tess Gallagher is saying about life and about the choices that we have in front of us. So let's review. Title. Then you paraphrase. Paraphrase looking at the literal. And then you look at the connotation, the figurative language. Next, you look at attitude, all the emotions. After that, you look at any shifts or changes in the poem. Then you go back to the title, and finally, you end with the theme. And there you go, that's TPCASTT. So now you know what the acronym stands for, and now you know how you can annotate your poem and work out the meaning of your poem in 7 simple steps. Follow these steps, and you can end up with a poem with a annotation that looks as beautiful as mine. And thank you for your time, and have fun with your poems.